Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. Thanks again for stopping by today. Today we're gonna make a very quick and easy stovetop macaroni and cheese. My kids absolutely, and my husband absolutely love this recipe. It's quick, easy. My kids aren't the type of kids, not that there's anything wrong with it, but my kids just don't crave Kraft macaroni and cheese and the macaroni and cheese out of the box. They prefer to have a homemade stovetop macaroni and cheese or a traditional baked macaroni and cheese. So for today's recipe, you just need a few ingredients for this. So you'll need to have a 16-ounce box of macaroni noodles. The elbow macaroni, I do the standard size, not those large ones. For this here, I went ahead and pre-boiled these. What I typically do is, make sure you add some salt into your water. So I do about a tablespoon of salt in my water. It just helps to give the noodles a little bit of flavor. If you don't put salt in it, my husband and I found this out the hard way a few weeks ago when I forgot to put salt in the water. I thought I did, but I didn't. And we didn't realize that until we tried it. But be sure to put some salt in your water. You're gonna boil them for about 6-7 minutes. You don't want them fully cooked, only because by the time you add in the hot cheese sauce, they're gonna cook down some more. So about 6-7 minutes, you're gonna boil those. You're gonna need a total of about 4 cups of cheese. And what I like to do for a quick stovetop macaroni and cheese is I try to get rid of the cheese that might be in the fridge. So any of the sandwich cheese that my kids like, they love Havarti, that's one of our favorite cheeses. I'll throw that in the macaroni and cheese. So you don't have to stick to the traditional cheddar cheese. You can mix it up and add in whatever type of cheese you like. I would stay away from like the mozzarella and the Parmesan, although you could add a little bit of Parmesan in there. But I would say when you're looking at having those 4 cups of cheese, be sure that it's like a mix. You could do all cheddar or you can mix it up. So here I have about 3 cups of extra sharp cheddar cheese. We prefer the extra sharp cheese, so we have 3 cups there. And then we have here 6 slices of, we have Havarti here, and then the extra white sharp cheddar cheese that we use for like grilled cheese and things like that. So we just had that left over in the fridge. I try to, anytime I see that I have a lot of cheese accumulating in the fridge that's open, that's when I'll throw together a quick stovetop macaroni and cheese just to get rid of that cheese. And keep in mind for slices, so if you have slices, about 12 slices will equal, I apologize, 6 slices will equal 1 cup. So if you need to get 1 cup of cheese, you're looking at about 6 to 8 slices. You can always throw a little bit extra cheese in there for measure. You'll need a 3/4 stick of unsalted butter. I always use the unsalted butter. That way you can control the salt content in your recipes. You also need a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. And here I also have I have a 1/2 teaspoon of just regular salt and a 1/4 teaspoon, I apologize, of the white black pepper. So you want to use white pepper. This just to me gives it a little extra bite. It helps bring out that sharpness of the cheddar. You could also, if you don't have white pepper, you could also just add in just standard black pepper, okay? So you have all of the ingredients that you need for your recipe. I forgot one thing. You will also need some milk, and I like to use whole milk whenever I'm making my recipe. It to me just makes it a lot richer, but of course if you're watching your waistline and you don't want that creamy richness, you can feel free to use a low-fat, fat-free, whatever type of milk you prefer. All right. So here we have my Dutch oven that I've started to preheat on the stove. You're gonna take your 3/4 sticks of butter. You're gonna get that in the pan, let that start melting down some. This here, you're just making a quick roux for your macaroni and cheese. This helps to build your cheese sauce. So you're just gonna take that butter, get that melted. And I know there are several different ways to make a roux. I know some prefer eggs. I'm not the type that really cares for too many eggs in my macaroni and cheese, especially like the baked macaroni and cheese. We like a creamy macaroni and cheese. So really there's no right or wrong way to make the roux. I just prefer to use the butter flour method when making mine. So we're gonna let that butter melt. We're gonna go ahead and add in that 1/2 cup of flour. All right, gonna get that all mixed up good. This is a pretty easy recipe. My kids can make this. I just have to give them the recipe card and they know exactly what to do with it. All right, so you have your roux going here. You're just gonna get that. This isn't like a gumbo roux, so we're not gonna be stirring this for hours to get it that dark rich that you would have for like a gumbo. This is just a basic macaroni and cheese roux. Now I'm gonna add in that salt and white pepper. We're gonna give that a stir. We're just gonna let this cook down for about 2 minutes. All right, so here you have it. That roux is cooked down some. You definitely want to cook this down just a little bit. Like I said, 2 or 3 minutes. It doesn't take long. And the reason for that is if you don't, by the time you add in your milk and your cheese, you're going to have like a grainy cheese sauce, and you definitely don't want that. All right, so we've added in the butter, the flour, and the salt and white pepper. So now we're going to slowly add in, you're going to add in 4 cups of milk to this roux. I'm just going to add that in there. And that's 4 cups of whole milk that I prefer to use. We're going to add that in. Give that a good stir. Make sure we get all that roux incorporated into the milk. This is the foundation for your cheese sauce, so you definitely want to get that right. All right. So we're going to get all that stirred up, and we're going to let this come to a slow boil. You don't want it to boil too hard, too fast or anything, because that'll cause your cheese sauce to break, and you definitely don't want that. So we're going to give this, I'm going to give it about 3 or 4 minutes here to get nice and hot before we add in our cheese. All right, so now we have our milk. It's nice and hot. You're going to just go ahead and add in all that cheese. So I start with the slices of Havarti. We'll get that in there. And again, you really can't go wrong with cheese. By the time you finish this and you taste it, if you feel you need to add a little bit more cheddar cheese or any cheese in there, feel free to do that. All right, so we have our slices in. Now we're going to pour in our cheddar cheese. And again, that was 3 cups of cheddar cheese. And I had about 1 cup of sliced cheese. And again, that was just the cheese that I had that the kids opened for their sandwiches and things that I just wanted to use up. So again, you can just use, if you wanted, you could use just 4 cups of just regular old cheddar cheese. If you prefer just a cheddar macaroni and cheese, that's up to you. All right, we're gonna let this cook down, let that cheese melt. And again, this is gonna take about 6-7 minutes or so for this to be nice and incorporated, and then it'll turn into our cheese sauce. All right, as you see here, my cheese sauce is coming together. It's a little bit loose here. Sometimes it just depends on the quality cheese that you're using. I typically use the store brand cheese, but it really just depends. The more you cook this, it will thicken up. But at this point, you could go ahead and give it a taste. And if you feel like you need a little bit more cheese, you can absolutely do that. So I'm just going to add in about another 1/4 cup of cheese. Let that melt down. And again, it just depends your preference. If you don't mind yours being a little bit looser, or if you want that thick, rich cheddar cheese or cheese sauce here, you can always add in just a little bit more cheese. And like I said, at this point, it's safe and it's okay for you to give it a taste. See if it's that cheesy goodness that you like. If not, you can always add in more cheese. You can also at this point add in more salt or white pepper if you would like. So we're gonna let this cook for about 5 more minutes. Make sure everything is incorporated. Make sure we don't have like any lumps, or make sure that this doesn't, we don't want to cook it too long because we don't want it to break up. So we're gonna let this cook a little bit longer. All right, so there you have it. You have your cheese sauce, and it's starting to boil a little bit. I don't want it to boil too much because like I said, that will cause it to break, and then it'll be kind of an icky mess. We definitely don't want that. So now that's nice and smooth. Now the final step is you're gonna add in those noodles that you prepared before. So we're just gonna put the noodles in there and give that a good stir. And you used a whole box of elbow macaroni, just depending on how cheesy you like yours. You may not use all of that. I think I use most of it, but sometimes I don't use them all because we like ours a little bit cheesy. We're gonna just get that down in there. All right, and I still have my cheese sauce on while I'm adding in the noodles. We need a lot more noodles there because that's way too cheesy for us. All right, my kids do like it cheesy though. We're just gonna add in some more of those noodles. All right, and again, my hands are clean. I always start off washing my hands. And like I said before, I wash my hands throughout cooking. And I'm only using my hand right now because I'm also holding the camera. So I don't have anyone here to help me right now. So so I'm trying to do it all. So bear with me as I use my bare hands. All right, we're gonna give this a stir. Now I can go ahead and turn my pot off. All right, make sure you get all of the noodles covered. Look at that goodness. Easy stovetop macaroni and cheese. All right, I have a few more noodles left. I think I'm gonna go ahead and risk it all and put them all in there today. Because I added that 1/4 cup of cheese. That's usually not part of my recipe. You know, sometimes the stuff you get at the store is strange. Some days it works for a recipe, some days it doesn't. So you can always modify and add, adjust as needed. That's what good cooks do. There you have it. Stovetop macaroni and cheese. See? Quick, easy. Perfect. All right. All right, so at this point, your macaroni and cheese is finished. Stovetop macaroni and cheese, it's hot, ready to be served. If you're like me, I prefer a baked macaroni and cheese. I only started making stovetop macaroni and cheese because my husband prefers that. And so what I do is I try to negotiate. I'll take this stovetop macaroni and cheese, and as long as you're using like a Dutch oven or a heavy duty pan that's oven proof, what I do is I'll take and add a little bit more cheese to the top. And this isn't your typical baked macaroni and cheese recipe, but it works for me. So I'm gonna add just about a 1/2 cup to a full cup of cheese on top of there, and I'm gonna bake it in the oven. And again, because the noodles weren't cooked all the way, I have some room to put that in the oven and get that all baked up. All right, so you have stovetop macaroni and cheese, easy recipe turned into a quick, easy baked macaroni and cheese. Look at that bubbly goodness. So again, stovetop macaroni and cheese turned into a quick baked macaroni and cheese. I just like to throw in the oven because I like that brown cheese on top. I love that crust. All right, so there you have it. A stovetop macaroni and cheese, an easy stovetop macaroni and cheese turned into a quick baked macaroni and cheese. And again, I just bake it because I love that crust on top. I think this looks a lot better than the macaroni and cheese coming right out of the pan. So if you're gonna go serving this for Thanksgiving or, you know, at a party, I would say just throw it in the oven for a few minutes, give it that golden brown crust on top, and it'll be good to go. One of the things that I like about this recipe about stovetop macaroni and cheese is that it's really versatile. So some days my kids will eat this as a meal. They love it for like a quick, easy lunch. Now, especially now that they're virtual and they're learning from home because of COVID-19, you know, this is a quick, easy lunch. You can make this in 15, 20 minutes. You can serve it up as a dinner where you put like maybe some ham steak on the side. You can even chop up ham steaks and put it inside. Serve it with the side of broccoli. My kids will absolutely, that's one of their favorite meals as well. You could even take this if you want to incorporate some veggies into it. One way that I do it that my kids have no clue about is I will take some fresh carrots, I will puree those, and I'll add it into the macaroni and cheese, and they have no clue because the orange color of the carrots, you know, looks similar to that of the macaroni and cheese. So they never know that I stick carrots into their macaroni and cheese from time to time. The way that I love macaroni and cheese, I love it especially on Thanksgiving, where you have the macaroni and cheese, the candied yams, and either the fried cabbage or the collard greens. That is like my absolute favorite way to have macaroni and cheese. And I can't forget a side of sweet cornbread. So we're gonna go ahead and dig in and give this a try. So it's just still nice and creamy the way my husband likes it, but I get to negotiate because I get a little bit of that crust there to sample. So I love the crust there, but again, it's still a creamy macaroni and cheese. Give that a shot, and again, whatever cheese you like, you can use. And it's a foolproof recipe. I mean, quick, easy, delicious. Kids will love it. If you like this recipe, please be sure to subscribe to my page, MH Family Adventures. We'll have more recipes coming here soon and some of our family adventures. Thank you for tuning in today. Till next time.